Alright, so how can one decide what news is credible, and what are the responsibilities of the news consumers and providers to ensure that people are reading or hearing the truth? So my claim is that opposing and alike political parties need to collectively identify what fake news is and take it down, and regardless of their political party, they need to understand that voters need to know the truth in order for the democratic process to be valid, and it shouldn't matter whether it helps or hurts them, because that's the most important thing. And so the past kind of predicts the future here. In History as a Participant, which was source E, they said the view arose that not only participant historians, but even historians who wrote about contemporaneous events were too deeply compromised to fulfill the pure historical vocation. And so what that means is that people were too compromised in the biases of that time to, for us to understand exactly what happened. And you can see that today. If it deludes our perception of the past, it can delude our perception of now. And so that's, yeah. And so the responsibility of the people on this is they need to try and be educated. And that's kind of hard to do. You can't make everyone understand what's going on, and you can't make them fact check things. But people need to understand that what they read and hear on social media and TV and on any internet website may not necessarily be true. And they also need to understand that what they put out there is important, because they need to be truthful on the internet. And according to Poynter, which is a statistics collector for journalists, 23% of respondents in a survey they did shared fabricated stories, and in that group, 14% said they knew the story was fake at the time they shared it, which it requires no explanation to understand why that's not okay. So the responsibility of the politicians now is that they need to endorse the truth and not just what helps them. So if a fake website is promoting a politician, they shouldn't endorse it when they know that it's not telling the truth. And they also shouldn't bash sources that are trying to tell the truth. And this doesn't happen enough, like I just said. And an example of when it did happen was when George W. Bush called Fox anything but fair and balanced. And considering he's a Republican, that's a pretty significant thing for him to say. And then the counter argument is that people claim that fake news isn't as big of a deal as it is. Most people think it's an issue, but they don't think it's as big of an issue as it is. And then people also have mixed definitions of what it actually is. But it is definitely a big issue, because if people are voting on fake information, then it's going to influence elections and laws that should be different. And it's the responsibility of politicians, like I said, to, regardless of position, to try and incentivize the truth, but it's also the government can do some things without violating the First Amendment. I'll say why I say that in a second. And so they should produce a document or some sort of guideline for information that kind of qualities of a good source and a bad source, but they wouldn't, of course, they wouldn't filter, and that's what I mean to say by the First Amendment. They wouldn't filter news, and they wouldn't endorse or bash any sources, but they could put a guideline out so that readers know what they're getting. And one of the things that they can include in this document is native and network. And so native is what most sources use. About 60% of CNN and Fox is native publishing. And network is normally what sets them apart. It's their own research on their own websites with their own sources. And it's like being at the scene when it happens. And that's what makes it a little bit more official. And that's the kind of thing that they can maybe include in the document. So I think that's it. Yeah, that works out.
Okay, Connor, just one question for you. What additional questions emerged from your research, and why are these questions important?
Probably more specifically, like what sources are better, like Fox or CNN is the two big ones. The question of like which one specifically is better, and then there's other sources like them. And so I didn't really want to go into that, but that's something that I found a lot of information on that I could have used, but I didn't really.
Good. All right. Nice job.